one of those 500,000 QSTs that are floating around, then make sure that they at least go to the library and ask for the ham radio magazines. And I've gone into several libraries and made sure that the people behind the desk understand why we're sending them to them. In other words, if somebody comes in and says ham radio, you hand them this. So yeah, that's part of that. And again, we're trying to make sure that clubs recognize the need to infiltrate the established working force in their clubs with the new people. And that means trusting that these people are going to step up and be successful. But even if you have 50% success, that's a whole lot more than 5% success that we're having right now. Yes?
Just as a thought, statewide ARES field instructor and trainer for the ARRL EC01 course
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
The quality of the students that I've had over the years is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, these are some of the guys that come out of business, top-ranked business positions and things, and it just floors me to who I end up in the class. And so what I'm getting at is the quality of the people that you can call on right off the bat. Check into their lifestyle, what they've done and where they've gone and what they've done and all that. It's amazing.
Yeah, many of these retirees are managers in industry and in business already. I mean, we're passing up a gold mine here because they are organized. They know exactly what to do. They just came off of a busy job, and they're looking for something to do. Don't let them just say, "Gee, I got a license. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what you do with it." And the answer is, you don't get on 75 meters and talk to a bunch of people at 8 o'clock at night. No, we need you over at the EOC to help organize where we don't have a team that can go out in 5 minutes and address something and show our support. That's exactly, those people want work. Give them work. Don't give them, "Gee whiz, we wanted to give you a 10-year-old ICOM radio so you can play with it." No, give them a job to do. Hams are changing, okay? We're changing to a bunch of community-focused and state-focused public service people, much higher esteem and much higher accord than we give ourselves credit to be. Okay, issues. Obviously, Dick is going to come. I have been pinging on them ever since this whole FCC thing came along about 3 gig and 5 gig. And if you're not aware, they're trying to take our frequencies. We only have secondary level use of those, and most of our mesh networks, like Arden, are using those frequencies right now. And so everybody that owns a machine, and we were just about to put up a 7 or 8 station unit up on Greens Peak, we're scared to death. What are we supposed to do? Right now, we're kind of in limbo because we don't even, the NPRM isn't even out for us to all stream. But boy, when it comes out, I hope that not only ARRL, but everybody in communications speaks up for those of us that need them for our emergency services. That's what we have to focus on. We need to make sure that the FCC understands that we have a tremendous Arden development going on here, and Arden is the key to providing at the local levels, at the county levels, between fire and police and other agencies, not just communications, which is microphones, data. They need data. They need
Absolutely.
Files. They need pictures. They need real-time information in fast order. And we keep pointing to the Yarnell 19. Had one of them been a ham, they'd all be alive. That's all there is to it. They'd have had APRs right there. We'd know exactly where they were. We knew what the situation was. We could have notified them. Their machine, their repeater didn't work there, but the ham repeaters worked beautifully right where they died. So we keep rubbing their nose in it. Sooner or later, they're going to get wise to the fact that we have our stuff together. And I've finally gotten through to, for example, out in Springerville Eager, because they have exactly the same problem Yarnell does. And so we're letting them know what the frequencies are that are already there on Greens Peak that they can use in an emergency when theirs don't cover for disastrous fires, because the biggest fire that ever happened in Arizona happened right out there in the Wallow fire, huge fire, and they had no coverage anywhere in there. They couldn't even talk to this big DC-10 bomber that was coming into bomb, because I was listening on frequency, and they had to relay twice to get to somebody who could talk to them. So, end of slideshow. No, it's not the end of my talk. Because the reason I'm here is A, I gave you an idea of what we're doing in Arizona, but B, I'm here as a collector. I'm going to collect from you your attitudes, your opinions, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, and it's open forum, folks. Let's talk. Shoot. Come on, somebody say something.
Hey. I just have a question about the volunteer observer program that is being
Aha.
and I'd like to know what that's all about.
Okay, guess what? We all do. And at the Duke City Convention, they had Riley Hollingsworth himself. That's Mr. Enforcement section of the FCC that then went over to ARRL and formed the new Volunteer Monitor program and was effective in canceling the OO program. And you say, that was a disaster. Well, you need to hear it from Riley himself, okay? He's gonna, in 2 weeks, he's gonna be in Yuma.
Okay.
He is a featured speaker in Yuma, and he's coming out to do exactly that, all right? He's gonna talk about the Volunteer Monitor program. You gotta understand what was happening in the FCC with the fact that their budget got cut in half. And because the commercial end of the spectrum gets the most attention, that cut our effective support in terms of problem areas and people that are QRMing to almost nothing. Okay, so they're a real challenge to even support hams right now. And so you need to hear Riley's take on it. You need to hear the league's take on it, what they're doing nationally to try to support that, and the rationale for each one of those decisions. And he's going to do that. And oh, by the way, then at 10 o'clock on Friday night, we're going to have a whoop hong ceremony there. And so you're all welcome. I ordered up a bunch of whoop hong badges. Bill, you didn't tell me how much they cost.
Oh, you could afford it.
last of my 2019 budget, okay? But we'll have badges, certificates. But Wolf Hong is a ceremony kind of thing. It's a take on a secret ceremonies. You know, it's kind of like you're trying to become secret Knights of Honor for ham radio brothers. Yes, band of brothers of ham radio. And yet, buried somewhere in there is a moment of truth that says, what are we here for? What are we really trying to do with ham radio? And you have to be patient. It takes about 3/4 of an hour, but it's a lot of fun. We'll make sure that it's a lot of fun. Bill's volunteered to come over and show us how to do it the right way. And Riley will be there. Riley will be the official. And you'll get your secret handshake and your passwords and everything else. So it ought to be, I think it's a lot of fun. I was really amazed at how much fun it was.
How will you get there? Just show up or
Just
sign up?
just show up. Yes. I'd like to know how many they're going to be. We'll be in the room number 2, which is called the newcomer room, which is where I give my presentations usually. That's the one that's very to the very north and the very east.
Way in the back corner.
Yeah, we're in the back corner there. But it's a nice place because it's quiet back there,
Yeah.
and that ought to be just about right for the
Are
size.
you gonna do sign-ups anywhere?
What do you think, Bill? Sign up?
That's a good idea. We did certificates, but
Well,
New
well-
Mexico is way ahead. We're closer to Newington.
Some of us think that's too close.
Yeah,
to
that's
me.
not an advantage.
Dig.
Yeah.
Hey, I went to charm school there. It's pretty good.
Did
And
it
you
ever?
flunked, right?
Yes. But anyway, yes, that will definitely be on the agenda as the rationale, not just we did this and this is what it means, but why did each of the decisions get made the way it was? And you need to hear it from Riley because he talks good, because he's been there and he's been the boss of that. So, yes, be sure to. And, yes. Bill, they didn't tape his talk there at yours.
No, we did not.
We're gonna do that.
We don't have that yet. We don't
We'll
have tape.
get the Ham Nation.
We got rid of tape years ago.
Still got the half.
New technology. I'll talk to you after.
You just stuck your cell phone up there and, yes, sir.
Was mentioned a little while ago about QRZ and the lack of information that's on there. I see a call sign, I go look it up on QRZ to see where the guy lives, and it's nice to see a little thumbnail of him. I think one of the things that might be useful is a presentation about what QRZ is, the information that's on there, and maybe even part of
Done.
8.5 by 11
No,
handout.
and for those of you in Rio Linda out there, the comment that was made, which is an excellent comment, is QRZ has the potential for giving us all the information we want to know. You're in the middle of a QSO like I was last year here, and the first thing you do is you type it in, and one of the things that I have on my setup is not only does it log the contact, but it also goes in and brings up his QRZ page. So when I was talking to this guy down in Quito, Ecuador, and first thing that pops up, I said, "Oh, you got a neat, that's a Kawasaki Z1000," and he goes, "Line color," and I go, yeah, line color, that's cool. He says, "How do you know that?"
Across the street.
Yeah, Jose, I'm looking.
And that's it.
Fred used to come out to Quartzfest regularly, but he sold his motorhome.
Well, I understand he sold his motorhome. I've been successful this year at getting rooms for free for speakers. Okay, I got Riley a room for free, and so I know I'm a personal friend of Fred's, and so is Gordo.
Yep.
So we're going to call Fred, and maybe not Fred. It might be one of his kids, but we'll get somebody out there to talk. That's a good point, and I'll have to make a hole in the schedule for Jeff to, provide that. But I think that's a great idea. Good point, John.
Damn good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
It's not hard to figure out though if you go on the site. If you just do the join thing, which is free, it pops up with notes about how to put in your personal information.
Well, and those of you who are annoyed with this two-way safety feature for logging on, it's going away. Just about to go away completely. That's for getting on QRZ, where you have to you try to log on and it says, "We just sent it to your cell phone," and my cell phone's out in the car, right? Or it's in the other room, so you run over there, and by the time you get back, your computer's timed out. So it's very annoying, and yet that's that two-way. It's just like when you go to get an FRN, and they say, "We send it to your email." Wait a minute, I wanted it here now.
It's called two-factor authorization.
Yes.
That's not going
And
away.
it's trying to be secure.
That's not going
No,
away,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
not.
They're trying to be secure.
Yeah. More comments. How about on the outside? Come on, guys, give us something to work with. Don't give Dick Norton all these local Arizona issues. I'm supposed to take care of those. Anybody out there?
On the volunteer observer program.
Volunteer observer,
we
yes.
might give a
Volunteer
little-
monitor.
We might give a little history of the OO program, what it was, and what the new ones are going to be able to do.
Me now or Riley then?
Well, what
Well,
the OOs
okay.
did and what the new guys will do.
Okay, the old OO program, which by the way, well, I'll mention that in a bit, but the old official observer program was intended to be a self-policing agency among amateurs, all right? A way to not so much report them up the chain of command and give pink slips, as it was to let people know when they're off frequency, too close, we're 2 kc apart, and you've got your set to wide, your frequencies on your transmit audio is set to wide, and so you're making it squeak, squeak, squeak into the other guy's mic, even though he's got his bandpass as tight as he can. That was the whole idea of the OO program, was to do that. Yes, in addition, if we had a really bad operator, which they have tons of, we send that report up the chain of command to the FCC through our league, and then that is at least reported. But the problem we had, of course, always was, how far are we down in the chain of activity as far as their having the resources to pursue that and be able to tackle those people.
Or if you're like a
Yeah,
novice
almost.
like I was, you had hum on your CW signal.
That's
I got introduced to the OOs on my first day in ham radio.
well. Now let me explain. We do a whole lot more than that with OOs, and some of that is, for example, lately one of our issues has been the fact that we have a problem now in that HOAs and even private owners are trying to restrict amateurs by going to the county health department and saying that huge antenna up there is broadcasting and it's causing interference and our babies are going to die. That's what they're doing. So what we're doing is we've had to educate the city and county health organizations on the fact of what we all know, which is that that huge antenna up there and that 1,000 watt transmitter we're using still complies with the radiation hazard exposure limits of the FCC easily. However, you're probably violating tremendously with your cell phone, because that's at 900 megahertz and we're at 30 megahertz. And so it's been...
It's 1 inch from your ear.
And it's 1 inch from your ear.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're sitting there and worried about the fact that the antenna is pointed right at them, and you show them a table and it shows them how many watts per meter and what the radiation effectivity is and dBm and all this other, and they don't understand that. But the thing you have to tell the counties is we're not only required to know what they are, and we're required to have a table that shows our transmitter and our receiver and our Yagi antenna with 6.1 dB a gain, and 10 feet off the ground or 100 feet off the ground has this much radiation effectivity at 60 feet, and we can do that. And so the answer is every ham is required to and tested to be able to do that. They're required to have that table, and those tables and training are available right there on the websites. So what we have to do, and have been doing here in Arizona at least, is educating the counties and the health departments about the fact that we're aware of the issue and we're keeping close track of our hams. Well, as soon as we heard the OO program was going away, that was the first thing I sent back to headquarters was, that's all going away. I mean, the authority to do it and the funding to do it are all going away. We worked out a plan, and the plan is in effect right now in Arizona, and that is Carl Foster, our technical coordinator, we're still doing it, okay? And we're still doing it through some of our OOs. They don't have the official title of OO anymore, they're technical coordinators. But we still help out when that, last year when we had the 8 different operators operating their Bofun radios in a bowling alley up in Mesa, and we were able to go over and explain to them carefully that the radios have been programmed incorrectly, and we offered to help them change onto a commercial frequency, etc. That activity still goes on. It just goes on as part of our technical coordinating committee rather than as OOs. So what is a VM for? Well, the VM is going to restrict itself just to the role of reporting erroneous activity, whether voluntary or not. And so, and Riley will explain the limits and the capabilities of it. Yes, it's watered down compared to what it used to be. But a lot of the activities that we used to do as OOs are still ongoing, and that includes, I'm going to call it self-policing, but it's really more like being politely influenced. And I think every ham is educating them on what the band limits are, what the issues are with respect to too much power, with respect to splatter, with respect to you're on a multiple harmonic, and therefore destroying not only ham but also Air Force, and a lot of times you'll find that the hams are actually capable of interfering. For example, on 6 meters, you can be blanketing out guys that are radio control modelers that are using the frequency, and are hams, by the way. So, anything else? Well, we're just about at 10 here, and I think they have another activity here at 10. But I want to thank you guys for all coming. And Yuma is coming in 2 weeks.